Hello again, dear viewer. Welcome to another edition of Observing the West. In this video, we're going to take a look at some of the latest developments in the politics of the United Kingdom of Great Britain, also known as the UK. Since our last video, there have been some interesting developments in the current government. As I mentioned previously, there appeared to be some rebellious rumblings amongst the cabinet. It became apparent when the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, refused to follow the advice of Sir Tony Blair, one of the former Prime Ministers of Great Britain and the de facto shadow cardinal of British politics ever since he left his post in 2007. By the looks of things, though, the rebellion was cut short without even getting a chance to get off the ground. Sir Blair quickly re-established his control by getting rid of one of the key members of the rebellious fraction, Miss Sue Gray, who occupied the position of Keir Starmer's Chief of Staff. She was first smeared and then forced to quit. All things considered, even though I do not share any of Mr. Blair's political views, I have to admire the craftsmanship. The man is a master. Mr. Blair, in case you're watching, I reluctantly tip my hat to you. On the other hand, the new Reform UK party, which was created by Nigel Farage, and for which I actually held very high hopes for, is actually being a bit of a letdown. Following Nigel Farage's latest interview with GB News, it has become apparent that the party is currently engaged in some very unproductive rebranding, trying excessively hard to reposition themselves as centrists in the eyes of the UK media, which as far as I can tell is a fool's errand. It brings me no pleasure to say this, but unfortunately, just as I feared, Nigel appears to be slipping back into his old habits of retreating from the battlefield after scoring only a handful of victories in a war that's only begun. He always does this. Remember that first time he pushed Brexit through? Yeah, well, after the referendum, he immediately disappeared, providing Theresa May and her supposedly conservative government with ample opportunities to try and sabotage it. This particular trait of Nigel's is something that always left me genuinely baffled. I mean, come on, we're talking about the man who kept on campaigning after surviving a literal plane crash in 2010. Why does he always seem to lose his way after the campaign is done? This lack of decisive action is not only damaging to his reputation, but is also an opportunity for his political opponents to recover and get back in the fight, which is what some of the Tory party members appear to be doing at the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce to you Robert Jenrick, the man who's currently fighting for the position of leader in the Tory party. And boy, did he make a lot of noise already. So much so that currently all of UK media are discussing how he went from a sensible centrist to a full-blown right-winger in a blink of an eye. What can I say? A true politician through and through. When he sees an opportunity, he seizes it. And this is where we come back to Nigel Farage. I don't think anyone has summarized the situation better than Carl Benjamin, aka Sargon of Akkad, former member of the UKIP party and also the creator of the Lotus Eater podcast. Jenrick is running far to the right of reform at this point. Farage's desire to be seen as a centrist moderate has hamstringed his ability to advance necessary positions, which has left the field clear for the Conservatives to reassemble themselves. Couldn't have said it better myself. Of course, there are some who would say that this is actually a good thing. Finally, the Conservative Party is actually starting to talk about conserving something. I respectfully disagree with that opinion. As mentioned before, the Conservatives have already betrayed the electorate once over the Brexit issue after talking up a very big game. As they say, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. As far as I'm concerned, this is all just a big bluff by the Conservative Party to try and redeem themselves in the eyes of the British people. A stunt, nothing more. If they get back into power, they will never follow up on any of these promises. The bad news here is the fact that Farage's inaction can actually provide them with a golden opportunity for their plans of rebranding to succeed.
Look, I think Nigel Farage is rattled. He's talking about me a lot now. And I tell you why that is. He doesn't want someone to lead this party with my track record, someone who actually has credibility on these issues like immigration, who resigned on principle over it, and someone who has my policies. Crystal clear policies. Cap on legal migration. leaving the European Convention on Human Rights.
Yeah, we know them.
And
Yep.
why, Chris? Well, you can never repeat good things too often. Why, Chris? Because he knows that will put him out of business.
Fear not, however, there is some good news as well. Meet Kemi Badenoch, Jenric's opposition for the post of the Tory leader.
This broken system is going to need an engineer to fix it. I am an engineer.
Indeed you are, Kemi, indeed you are. Not entirely sure how that translates into being a decent politician, but hey, what do I know? I'm a certified moron. What I know for a fact is that at the moment of making this video, Kemi is leading in the race. And after watching the debate between her and Jenric, I can state the following. While both are trying their best to appear repentant for the actions of the party in the past, Jenric is the only candidate who actually has some ideas about how they should tackle the situation that they're in, while Kemi only talked about restoring the trust between the party and the electorate, while being incredibly short on the specifics of how she will do it. In conclusion, my own personal opinion is that if Kemi Badenoch gets in, then the Tory party will remain a total non-threat. But if Jenric manages to get in, then they will live on to lie to the British electorate once again. Thank you very much for watching. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment below, and until next time.